Hi, this is Tina from Inner Delight, and welcome to another We Uplift TV moment. And joining me today is beautiful Dr. Stephen Marcus, who will be sharing with us about his amazing technology, Sacred Ground, taking social media to soul media. Welcome, Stephen.
Hi, Tina. Great to be with you here today.
It sure is, and thank you. I would love for you to share a little bit about how Sacred Ground came into being and what it is for those who have not experienced it yet.
Well, I think this all started a long time ago when I was really inspired with the technology, even before the internet, technology of bringing people together and communicating, and at the same time looking at ways in which it could bring people together spiritually, bring them together really in touch with their true essence. And I think I've told you this story before, in the early 90s, I was a part of an email group. There were a dozen of us, and we communicated for over a year, and there were daily emails, pretty frequent emails from most people, even though in those days, some people, it actually took a day or two for the email to get to them. This is,
wow.
This is only 20 years ago, but it's amazing to think back to them. We had some really deep sharings, though, even using this very crude technology, all typed in as text. There were no digital cameras, no scanners, and even if we'd had one, there was no way to send photos to one another, other than by mail, which we just didn't do. And two of the people in the group got married, and I flew out to their wedding. And the very first thing that this guy said to me when we met was, "Who are you?" Oops. And it was towards the end of that group. I don't know if it was just that the group was destined to live for about a year, or whether that was somehow that something broke there. And when we started to come together within Whispering Energy, and I met you and Malati, and we were just starting to use things like Skype to connect with one another, and I realized how powerful this video experience is. Not just seeing somebody's photo, not just, often these people choose photographs when they look their best, and on the video you see people as how they really are, and we got to know each other over a period of I guess half a year or a year, and then my wife Barbara and I drove out to Holland to meet you, and it was like you walked out of the screen.
Yeah.
There was no disconnect between the experience on the screen and the experience in what we call real life, and that a number of experiences, particularly having group videos as well, where a number of us could come together and connect. And I know we've been experimenting with that for about 2 years now. And so not just hearing one another, but also seeing people's faces and putting names to faces. That was really the seeds of Sacred Ground, and embodying this technology into a website where people could really meet and bring everything about themselves into alignment. So many of us have been meeting on social media, and so in Sacred Ground, I try to bring all of that together. You have the person's face, you have their name, the same name and the names, you log in through Facebook, so everything is consistent. You can see somebody's Facebook profile, you can see whatever they've chosen to describe about themselves there. At the same time, you have this experience of how they look, and how they behave, and how they talk, and seeing their faces. And yeah, and how has it been for you to have been joining in this experience?
Well, like you said, I think that having the opportunity to actually see one another and to see each other's faces and to see the expressions and hearing each other's voice adds such a dimension, such depth of connection to the sharing. And I would say, during the webinars, oftentimes looking at the PowerPoint presentation that's on the screen and hearing the person's voice, it's amazing to have that visual of the message being presented. However, I found that when connecting in Sacred Ground while presenting a webinar and actually seeing the people who were present, it was like, it to me felt like being in the same space with one another. And yeah, I love it. I find, and the experiences I hear from people as well, is it makes it seem so much more real. That, as you said, that whole what do you call it? The the separation between where we are in physical space dissolves. And I love that.
Yeah, and it's actually, as we're here together right now, it'd be really easy just to go into that space and look into each other's eyes and feel that connection and just hold that in silence for a bit. That probably wouldn't make good TV. But,
yeah, and that's actually something I think, we've experienced it recently when on a beautiful webinar with Nalini McNabb and Cock van der Lee and myself, invited a group of people to come and join us for this gathering. And having the people who were present there, it's like, oh my gosh, feeling that circle of connection. It opens such a deep sharing, such vulnerability, and such authentic sharing of one another that I find that while being in that space, you call it sacred ground, and I think that describes it very well. It creates that sacred space for us to be with one another, and it's as if everything else falls away around us, and we're just in this real heart-centered connection. It's beautiful.
And yeah.
So it leaves us speechless. So one of the things that I know that's
I think another really important part of Sacred Ground for me is using technology that allows us to break out into small groups. So even when we have a large number of people there, we can, by moving into small groups, we can provide an opportunity for people to really connect one-on-one or two or three, four at a time, and actually give space for each person to share, and something happens for people when they do that, and both for those individuals and for the whole group. I'm sure you've experienced that in sort of quotes real life groups where you have people together in a seminar room, and you break out and do exercises in small groups, and then it's like the whole group has shifted, even though that sharing's only been between two or three people. And it's incredibly empowering for each person to have their word and to be able to share and be heard. So
yeah, well, and apart from that, I think that gives the space of feeling acknowledged, letting our voices be heard. Some people feel comfortable in small little groups and sharing. Others are more comfortable in a large group to let themselves be seen. So this is bringing, as you said, the social media experience to a soul media experience of really letting whatever comes up as we let ourselves be seen and be heard, to allow that to be transformed. So to give that sacred space to get comfortable in showing up in that way, and then taking that out into the world at large in a much bigger way.
Yeah, that's definitely, that's the other part of the experience, which is really remarkable, is that when people come together in this way, you might expect the only thing they want then would be to have video sharings. And what we actually find is that people then go back to their Facebook wall or wherever it is they're sharing stuff, and they share in a similar deep way there as well. That this experience of really coming together and learning to trust and to feel safe online, it then works outwards through their other online experiences, and also in their lives. We see people starting to set up all sorts of businesses that take on a whole new success in connecting with people, either online or in normal. What we call it? What word should we use for this? It's almost like virtual and real life. They're becoming seamless, and I know. We had this experience with you. I know there's other people that I've got to know through Whispering Energy who I haven't met yet, but I know it's going to be exactly the same if and when I actually meet them in real life. There'll be the same really deep feeling of connection. Beautiful.
So for people to come and experience the Sacred Ground experience, what can they do?
Well, they simply go to www.sacredground.us. So that's just one word, sacredground.us. And on the site there, you'll need to connect through your Facebook account. If you don't have one yet, just get one and just use it for logging in there. So you don't need a separate login. And you'll see the events on the calendar there. You'll actually see the upcoming 2 events displayed on the screen, and you can go and join in And these are events where there'll be some moderation to support people in connecting with one another. There'll be breakout groups. There are also rooms there where there are other events going on. There's a cafe. That's what people will see, the Sacred Ground Cafe. And that's a place where you can just drop by. It's not a reserved space. It's like going into the cafe on the corner and meeting people. And so you can put something out on your Facebook page, inviting people to come and discuss something. It's sort of first come, first served. Don't expect it to be that people might not drop by. In fact, that's part of the benefits of it as well. So there's two things on there right now. There are organized events, and there's a space where you can have your own impromptu gatherings. Ideally, you need to have a webcam, and you do need to use earbuds or a regular telephone for calling in for the scheduled events, so that there's not feedback between your speaker on your computer and the microphone. It doesn't sound bad for you, but it sounds terrible for everybody else. I think you've definitely experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you, Stephen. And I know that there are going to be many more amazing things unfolding, because Soul Media, who else is doing it?
We hardly even got into that topic, but yes, the site is called From Sacred Ground, From Social Media to Soul Media, and it's really about having the experience that transforms everything, just as your inner delight work. It's an experience of really connecting deeply at a heart, soul level, eye to eye with others, and seeing how that transforms everything in your life.
Yeah, so I will be talking more about that in another video for people to watch. For now, I invite everyone to go and take a look at www.sacredground.us and have a look around, and if you see an event schedule that is appealing to you, then come and join us. And otherwise, maybe collect a few friends on Facebook and set up an impromptu meeting. It kind of reminds me of the video series Friends, where people come by in the local cafe and always meet up there, Make new friends and share with old friends, and, well, anything is possible.
A cross between Friends and Dharma and Greg, I guess.
Yeah! Well, thank you for being here, and until the next time, many joyful blessings.
Yeah, blessings to you.